Good day, good day, good day, everybody. Good day. This is your man Shannon coming at you at the You're So Witty TV. And we're back again to inspire you, to hopefully help you to feel better about yourself and things that are going on in the world. I have a great guest on today, and he's going to come. And we're still following our series of what it is to be a man, just to help us to find our points on where we need to be in helping our older men, our younger men, all age brackets, and primarily just to make sure that we get an understanding of each person's interpretation of what it is to be a man. So, without further ado, I will bring on Mr. Tex Rover, and we hope that all things are good with you, brother. How are you doing? All right. All right. Can you hear me good over there on your side?
I sure can. What about me? We good?
All right. Yeah, I hear you real good, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you took the time out to come share some of your evening with me. I know you're a busy man, but I've always enjoyed talking with you when we do talk. So you got good energy. So I just want to make sure that we get you on and let you just expound upon some things.
Sure thing.
The main thing is right now, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are?
Yeah. So I'm Tex Rover, originally from San Antonio, Texas. By way of San Antonio, Texas, I left when I was the tender age of 17. Joined the Army. Went around the world twice, a couple of combat tours. Retired out of the Army. Roughly about I'll be 7 years here in a minute. So I've been able to touch a couple of different continents and pick up some different things in regards to life itself. Hmm. Beautiful wife, kids.
At least talk with this man. Military, you was in there quite a while. That's awesome. Yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
service too. Thank you for your service.
appreciate it.
Main thing is today, I want to get your interpretation on what it is to be a man, and hopefully you can enlighten some people on that. What would be? I like to get right down to it, man. What would be your definition of a man?
Accountability. I think far too often uh, we tend not to accept accountability, whether it's in our favor or not. Uh, a provider, obviously the typical provider, security, head of the house, that kind of stuff. But I think there's a lot of underlying factors that come with that. And as African Americans, we very seldom discuss, what a man is. But to say the least, accountability and a lot of mentorship, brother. We have to do a lot of mentorship and be open and willing to accept constructive criticism, whether it hurts your feelings or not. But you just got to be transparent as possible and be vulnerable. I think the key word for me in the last couple of years is just, is being vulnerable. So,
Yeah, I like that interpretation too. At what age would you say you became a responsible man?
oh Lord,
when, when you felt it really kick in?
yeah. Oh man, them 40s. When them 40s hit, I got a whole different outlook on life. Far too often I thought I knew what a man was, what I thought a man was. And one thing I'm always been proud of is, as a man, is excuse me, I've never called a woman out of her name. I've never put my hands on a woman. I think far too often some gentlemen feel that being the dominant in the physical realm is being a man, and that's not the case. I think being a partner and understanding your purpose is when you really define who you are as a man and what is a man. So I feel that I was hitting pillars throughout my life, whether it's in my 20s or my 30s, and now I'm in my 40s. These crossroads, and I have a methodology that I keep in my own mind in regards to becoming a man. I've actually came up with this methodology called Crossroads of Life as a man, and we all go through them, whether it's coming out of high school, going into the world,
Right.
getting a job, being responsible, and then taking on a family and all those good other aspects that come along with it. But I would have to answer the question, I said right around my early 40s is when I really dialed in a better understanding of being, a good man.
Okay. And you went in the military. What age? What age?
Man, I left in the Army. I had just turned 18. I was 17 and some change. And I
Wow.
retired at 41.
So in during that time, you knew you were doing some things right, but you would say in your 40s is when you actually just said, "Hey, I know I'm a man now." Was
Yeah,
that okay? All right.
yeah,
And I love the honesty too, brother.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
Mhm.
Uh, was there anything in particular that made that happen? Um,
Yeah, yeah, it really was. It was just I come to Jesus with myself. I've never had a problem being able to articulate myself and moving the crowd or getting involved. And I knew it was a gift. Unfortunately, I was abusing it when I was younger, to get what I wanted, right? Per
yeah,
se, instead of using it in the right context. So,
right.
yeah,
And your energy is always good too. I mean, anytime I've seen you around, some of the other fellows that I've seen you with, man, yeah, you're right. You got that energy, man. So the fact that you start wielding it to do some of the things to move everybody in a positive direction, that's what's up, man. I can appreciate that.
right.
At the end of the day, too, you said something about African Americans and mentorship. How do you feel we're viewed in this country? Are we viewed as responsible, or how would you say we're viewed?
Man, so for me, I stopped just talking about it. I can't hear a lot of brothers or sisters talking about what we gonna do, but we are the we, right? So my purpose right now is enough talking and action. So recently, I've been, actually, I talked to some kids last Sunday
Okay.
in regard to just talking about, the way we're viewed. And one thing I see that we have to address is not being susceptible of being vulnerable. I think far too often we tell young men, don't cry, don't do this, don't do that. But there's nothing wrong with showing your emotions. There's nothing wrong with telling a man you love him.
Thank
There's
you.
nothing wrong with that because the mere fact that we hurt, we cry, we have, challenges that we go through. And I think as a man and being a man of men, somebody have to take the lead and just say, hey, this is the deal. This is how we can overcome this. But
Mm,
I'm like you when it comes to this, Shannon. I want to dispel the rumor that we cannot come together. We cannot hug each other. We cannot be vulnerable and hold each other accountable. I think that is one of the responsibilities that's not
mm,
being conveyed. But as we're being viewed social networks and this, that, and the other, it can be bought into media propaganda. And what we really want to do is just get the underlying tone and say, hey guys, this is really what we see as men, in our personal experiences. So our responsibility on that is just through the roof if we just willing to be a little bit vulnerable. I'm gonna hit vulnerability a lot today because I think that's what helped me.
right. I like that point that you're making about being vulnerable, because over the years, I know now we slap skin now, brother, pulling you in, and there's that hug thing. And me back in the day, I would always do that. I'm real sure who I am as a man. But I remember the first time I told my best friend, I said, I love you. And somebody said, what did you just tell that man you love me? I said, I definitely
Yeah,
do. I
yeah,
definitely do. I mean
yeah.
nothing no more than what I said. But
Right.
a lot of people, like you were saying, would say, well, we shouldn't cry. I said, well, what these tear ducts for then? Don't mean you
Right.
got to walk around crying all the time, but they're there for a reason, because we do hurt. And I think it does bring a lot of stress on us when we don't allow ourselves to be vulnerable. And I like you bringing that point out. I had a friend, his son broke his arm one time, and he told his son, you better not cry. And he went out of the room and thought about it and went back and said, man, if you feel like crying, his son, just release, man, and just let it go. Because I think it's just getting the concept of what it is to really be a man. So has there been anything recently where you were mentoring with somebody or talking to somebody that you saw all of what we're talking about come into play?
Man, Shannon, it wasn't even 2 hours ago, right? I kid you not. This has been one of them days for me. I had to get on this show today, and it couldn't have been a better day. It wasn't even maybe 2 or 3 hours ago. I was on a call with another brother and a friend that we have a mutual friend, and he was having some relationship challenges, and we had this conversation. And some of the things he was saying, I got to work all day. I got to come home. I got to manage a little time at the house. I got to get me some me time. I got to get the kids prepared. I told him, welcome to being a man. Welcome to being a man of men, because that's what we do. And what I don't think he really realized was that's the expectation of us. You just graduating into, you know, this next level. And far too often we have kings that run away from those responsibilities versus taking them head on. And he was at the crossroads where as to he was going to go left or right. But what I do like about it is that he was willing to have this phone call and have this uncomfortable conversation and be vulnerable.
I mean, if you got to handle something, protect yourself, your family, you're going to do that. But
Right.
it's so many laws and misconceptions about it. And I think that's where we get into the pissing contest and who can whoop who and who can do this and that and that. And man, it has done a number on us. And you're right. The media has also helped do some of it as well. And like you said, this is the only way we can do it. If I show my vulnerability and you show some of yours,
right,
maybe we can find some ground in the middle. Is it possible for us to make ground in a short period of time though? Because we've fallen so far back, man. So far back. Is there a way for us to catch up?
Yeah, so I just think, you know, I believe in that old, you know, that old saying, reach one, teach one, or reach one, each one, or however they want to say it out there, because there's so many variables of it now, but the concept is the same. You know, we probably won't see it in our lifetime, you know, what the seeds we're planting. But, you know, that's our goal, is to plant as many as we can to get them to look at things differently, if I may. So what happened to me was, it was a gentleman by the name of Covington Navy, right? You know, I come from the project, subsidized housing. We had government programs. I was in a single family home. I was the man in my house at 13, driving and paying bills. You know, but it took a gentleman by Mr. Covington Navy, got out of his truck, Mazda truck, 1980 something. He had a uniform on. And I said, I want to be like him. You know, he had the house, wife, kids. I was his son's friend. And I wanted to emulate him. And I'd be danged if I didn't. You know, he set the tone for me early. And that's what we have to do. We have to get to these young brothers early to show them different options in life. And I'm just grateful, by the grace of God, that he put Mr. Covington Navy in my life at an early age. Here we are.
Did he get to see the fruits of his labor and what he planted in you at all? Or
Yes, you are. I call Mr. Navy probably about once every 6 months. We cry, right? You know, and I told him, you know, how impactful he was in my life, because he called me, congratulating me on being, you know, I went as high as you can go and enlisted. I was one of the youngest sergeant majors in the Army. But what people didn't realize was I was fighting to never go back to the situation I came from.
It still takes communication. It
Yep.
takes. Now, everybody we know ain't gonna try to do it. Let's keep it 100, man. Everybody, you can't waste your time with some of these folks. You know what I'm saying? But those that are trying, bro, you know, I found that when you talk with them, they got a story, and then you begin to, you know, become friends, or you become associates. You're able to build one another up. You know, I do it all the time, man. I see it all the time. And they can be vulnerable enough to say, man, you know what? I was scared right there. Or, man, I got a situation. I don't know what I'm going to do about that, man. Now, you can't share like that with everybody, but when you find somebody you can, it does a great deal to help.
If a man is willing to reach out and ask for help, it's our job to try to pull him to where they need to be, because that's a cry for help in my eyes. And it's not in a bad way. The man is looking for a way to be better, whether it's in his relationship or with his kids. So, you know, I told him, I said, man, I commend you, you know, because back in the day when we hung around, we all had this stigma that we just got to be the hardest guy around. And that's not the case, you know, that's not the case.
That starts to wear on you after a while too, man. Because
I'm tired.
That's dude that's crying could probably whoop your ass later. So it ain't about, you know, you flexing and all this flexing and who got this and who's the biggest and all that. I mean, we've seen it. I understand it when you kids.
Right.
You're a certain age, man. It for me, it starts to get tiring.
Right.
What are we doing to build each other up? It's okay to talk out a problem. It's okay, as opposed to picking up a gun, killing him, punching the dude in the face before you even understand where he's coming from. But it's gonna take some work, man, because we have dropped the ball so bad that the young guys ain't even trying to hear it right now. You know what I'm saying? And I just think we got some work to do. But I start with people like yourself who have put in your time. Do you have kids at this time or children?
Yeah. I got 3 girls and a son, you know, and you know, at the end of the day, you know, I just, like I told him, I said, you know, I'm not gonna give you what you want. I'm gonna give you what I didn't have. That's my goal. I'm not gonna, I can give you anything physically, but I think right now it's the most precious thing I can give them is teach them what I didn't know. Instead of giving them what I didn't have. I think that's way more impactful moving forward. And my dad, he tried. He's been in my life. Him and my mom. But my dad was learning as he went. And I had to take pillars from him, Mr. Navy, my first sergeant, my platoon sergeants, to help develop the man I am today. I am not all my dad, of a reflection of my dad. I'm not. There's been great men in my life that I took a little pillar from him, a little pillar from that one, and I've developed kind of, morphed myself into this person. Now, like I said, I'm far from perfect. I got a lot of things I could grow on and all that. But the one thing I do like the fact that I've always, and didn't realize it, I've always been receptive to, change and input and advice, whether it's somebody going down the wrong path, not to go that way or whatever the case may be. But, my dad did what he could do, and to be surprising, two things you said. You say, you tell your best friend you love him. I have best friends since I was snotty nose. We just started telling each other we love each other maybe about 3 years ago,
Right. And see, my best friend he's older than I am, man. And even he told me later, he said, bro, you know what? The first time you said that, he's all like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You say your dad was involved though in your life at some point. So that's good. I mean, that has some positive aspects or did it?
Yeah, me and my dad cool, and I was just telling my wife the other night, I've been gone. I've been gone from the house over 30 years. Matter of fact, we just talked about it. August of 1991 was the last time my dad ever visited me since I've been gone, and he's bought a plane ticket and coming here, in the next couple of months. And me and my wife talked about this. She said, I cannot believe your dad has never visited you since you've been gone. I said, no, this will be the first time in 30 years. It'll be, and we counted, it was 29 years and 10 months when he landed from the first time he's ever come to visit me in my realm. I've always went home, and I'm grateful for that. Pop's almost knocking at 70, and I'm excited, man, because I want him to see the man that I am today.
How did you know what bone, what meat to keep and spit out what bone? How did you know? For me, I just always looked and saw situations like, y'all don't think this is going to turn out bad, huh? Okay. Y'all don't think this is gonna turn out bad. And I just had that forethought to just kind of veer away from things that I knew were going to go south. And most of the time they did. Yeah. So, how did you know?
Yeah, I think I was just a pretty good judge of character. I would watch and see the consistency, right? And see that they didn't waver. And I remember one time they told me when I got my first platoon, they said, you're going to understand who you are when you get poked in the chest and get put in the corner. We judge people by adversity in this field. And they weren't lying. And I looked at those people and saw how they dealt with when it was fun and when it wasn't. They never got out of character. And I said, I need a piece of that right there. And that's how I did my own assessment, whether it's in the military or the civilian sector. It doesn't matter. Adversity is adversity. Divorces, loss of a child, loss of financially, challenges. Just see how they were as far as their character. And when I started getting those pillars from them and learning from them, I kept them in my depository.
It's been said too, you don't judge a man when everything going good. You can't judge what you're really dealing with when things are going bad.
That is true.
His demeanor change. What happens then?
That is true.
And it proves to be true every time, man.
It's
really how I guess you start to know what you're made of.
Right. And if I may, Shannon, so it wasn't even 48 hours ago. I was invited to an event. I'm not going to do name dropping, but it was a senator there. It was an NBA basketball player there. It was a lot of, impactful people. And I got invited to this personal gathering. And I'd be dang if we didn't have this very conversation. So it's happening on all levels. It's just it got to be televised. What they did for me as millionaires and to help me understand the realm I was in the other night, I can't do nothing but go back and pull somebody up, just like they're pulling me up. So I deployed this channel called on YouTube called How Did I Get Here? It talks about, it's 4 methodologies in that thing. It talks about who am I, where I'm from, what life-changing moment that I went through, how did I overcome it, and how does it help define who I am today. that is my way of trying to take it and put it on a broader scheme. But again, everyone that's coming on this show is being susceptible to being vulnerable. And you know, we released 2 so far, and just feedback is crazy because it helps us, man. It's therapeutic, and it's a one-stop shop. You don't need me to call me, go in there and look at it. And I think it's a great thing, man. I just thank God that He's allowing me to be used as a vessel to help people to tell their stories.
Man, that's what's up, man. Well, you heard it here. You got to go look at it. YouTube channel. How did I get here? I've checked it out, and it's really inspiring. So those who seeing this right now, at whatever time you're seeing it, please go check it out. Man, I can't tell you enough of how I'm thanking you for coming.
Yeah, I think just in closing, I think what we should do is just continue to pull one another up. You know, the one thing I believe in is just not judging a book by its cover. Be willing to open up a couple pages and read some sheets on it to see if you can help each other, because I can guarantee you it's something in that book that's going to be relatable to you. So help them get through the other chapters.
You know, and I like the main point you made, and I got to keep that from this. We got to be willing to be vulnerable. I like that. Well, man,
Good.
thank you for coming. I want you to come back because there's some other subjects that we're going to discuss a little later, and I would hope that you would, you know, do me the honor of coming back and being a part of the show, and because I see a lot of value in the things that you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, that was Mr. Tex Rover. I don't believe I could add any more to what was said. I think at this point, I'll just leave it right there. Until the next show, remember, you too are so witty.